Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pits of Motor Chaos. So, Dave, I got a nice special guest, Cleb Ellison, drag racer. How you doing, Cleb?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, how was your Christmas and New Year?
It was good. Unfortunately, we had to deal with COVID.
Yeah.
So, me and my girlfriend could not go to our family's houses because of us being in quarantine. So that definitely took away from the I guess what we were used to during the holidays. But we made the best of it.
Yes. So how was drag racing with the COVID in 2020 for you?
It wasn't too much different once we got going, but we went to Gulfport, Mississippi in March when all the COVID first came about, and we drove, I think it was 12 or 14 hours right in that area all the way to Mississippi, and unfortunately they had to cancel the race, so we didn't even get a race because of COVID, so that was disappointing to say the least. But once we started racing here in Ohio and other states started, it was really no different and compared to any other year.
So how many events did you get in 2020?
I didn't keep track, but it was a lot. We traveled quite a bit. We raced from, I think, we raced a few times in April, but I think May is when we really got going, and we raced from May all the way until the last week of November. So we were really busy.
So how'd the car run for you?
I drove a lot of different cars. I didn't drive our own car real much, but all the cars that I drove were they were good, and I enjoyed doing it. So.
So now, what class you race in, bracket?
Yeah, I bracket race. I race a lot of foot brake, so no electronics, no trans brakes. But I also do race Super Pro, or you can call it Top Bulb, where there are delay boxes and there are trans brakes. But I do a little bit of both. But I normally race foot brake.
So you run quarter mile or eighth mile?
No, we run eighth mile. We don't. There's not many times in the year that I run quarter mile. There's a class called Sportsman, and when I race Sportsman, it's a quarter mile class with a normally a 12 flat cutoff. That's the fastest you can go in the quarter mile. But that's the only class that's quarter mile around here that I race.
Yeah. So which one do you prefer?
I like quarter mile just because we don't do it, all that often. So when I do race quarter mile, I enjoy it because it's longer, so you're going faster. But like I said, we don't do it enough, so we don't get to experience it too much.
So how did you get into drag racing?
My family has always been involved in it. I think my dad started doing it, I believe, when he was around 18. So ever since I was growing up, I've always been out at the racetrack and involved in it. So when I turned 8, I started racing junior dragsters, and then when I turned 16, I started racing big cars, obviously, and I've done it ever since.
Now, the car you currently own, what is it, a Camaro?
No, so we did own a 67 Camaro. It was all black, but we ended up selling it earlier last year, I guess, and we ended up buying a 1971 Nova. My brother raced it once, and then I raced it once, but it blew up, so we got a new motor for it, so it'll be back out beginning of this year.
That's the one with the yellow and orange and blue, all different colors on it?
No, so That is a '69 Camaro, and we don't own that. A guy from Alabama named Greg Hines, he owns that Camaro, and I just happened to drive it for him a couple of times last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now, how was your first time experience going down a drag strip for the first time in your life?
It was a long time ago. I mean, like I said, it was, 12 years ago now? 13 years ago. So it was, I don't remember much of it, but I'm sure I was
nervous.
I'm sure I was excited. I'm sure I was nervous, but, once you do it for the first time, you don't ever want to stop doing it, so.
Yeah. So what's the fastest you've been down a drag strip?
In the 8th mile, I believe I went 4:56 at, I think it was like at 148 or 150 mile an hour. It was somewhere between that. It was in a dragster, so.
So how about the Nova? What's the fastest you've been in Nova?
Like I said, I raced it one weekend and it blew up. It just had a small block 383 in it, and I think I went like a 642, at like 105 or 106. So nothing too special.
Are you gonna do any changes to it in the off season?
I ended up buying a little smaller motor for it. I bought a small block 355. It'll still go about the same 640, 650 range in the 8th mile. But besides just switching the motors, no, we're not going to change anything on it.
Now, you said you started on junior dragsters, right?
Yes.
So how many years did you do the juniors for?
About 8 years, from when I was 8 years old till I was 16, and right when I turned 16, I got out of the junior, so 7 years, but I got out of the junior and I started racing big cars.
So how'd you do in juniors? Did you have any success?
I did pretty good. I feel like I didn't do quite as good as I could have, just being a little younger and not being, mature and understanding all of it. But I felt like I did pretty good, while I raced them.
Now, since you've been driving big cars, have you had any success with the big cars?
Yeah, I feel like I've had a pretty good amount of success every year that since I've raced a big car. In 2019, it was a little up and down, and I never really got anything going. But last year in 2020, I happened to win a foot brake race that paid $100,000 when I was driving that Camaro that Greg Hines owned. So that was definitely the biggest accomplishment yet for me, and it's going to be hard to top.
So what do you enjoy most about being a drag racer, Caleb?
Really just hanging out on the weekends with your family and your friends, and it's just one big family, and winning's fun, and winning money's cool, but really just the friendships that you make.
Now, is there anything that you hate about being a drag racer?
Yeah, I hate losing. I think everybody hates losing, but I guess the weekends that you spend at the racetrack, and you spend 3 days there, and you don't win nothing, and then you got to drive home. Sometimes 8, 9, 10 hours, and all those. Sometimes if you have a few bad weekends in a row, it'll get to you, and you lose your confidence. But that's probably the one thing I don't like about it.
So now, after the years you've been drag racing, now what still keeps you passionate about it?
I like the competitiveness of it. You race up against so many different people from so many different states, and I like knowing it's not easy to do. You got to have talent to do it, and you're going to get lucky here and there. Whenever you do win, you have your few lucky rounds, but I always enjoy racing up against good people because it makes you push yourself to do that much better and really focus on what's going on.
Now, if you could have the fans that come out and watch you remember one thing about you, what would you want that one thing to be that they remember about you?
Just that, I want them to know that I enjoy what I do, and I'm always appreciative for the opportunities that I'm given, and I don't want them to think I take advantage of what I do, and hopefully they look at me as a good and respectful competitor.
Now, do you think that you can get any better as a driver? And if so, how do you achieve that to get better?
Oh, I definitely think so. You can always get better, but it's really just about focus. I feel like there's not much we can do, in my opinion, to practice. You can use your practice tree if you own one, but besides using the practice tree, there's not much we can do on a weekly basis to, I guess, sharpen our skills. But like I said, just you always got to stay focused and think about all the scenarios that could possibly happen when you're racing somebody, and you always gotta strive to be better, though.
Now, Caleb, if someone's listening to this interview right now live, and it's could be a young child or like an older adult, and they're thinking about trying to drag race, what kind of advice would you give that person?
If you wanna go drag race and you wanna try and be good, you got to put a lot of your time into it. And like I said, you're gonna have a lot of bad weekends. You're gonna lose way more than you're gonna win, and there's times that you want to quit, you want to give up. But like I said, you just got to keep going and keep trying to make yourself better. I realize that it's a type of sport that you've got to put when you're doing it, when you're out there racing, you got to put your full effort and focus into it, or else you're not going to get the outcome that you want. So just keep yourself focused on what you're trying to do.
Now, in the sport of drag racing, do you have any drag racers that you look up to?
Yeah, like I said, I foot brake a lot, and foot brakes, it's a class that I feel like you've got to be really skilled at what you do and talented. A guy named Nick Hastings, he's, in my opinion, the best to ever foot brake and one of the best to ever drag race. I've always looked up to him, just the way he handles himself and the success that he has, the success he's had since I can remember, 10, 15 years. And then just even people that I grew up racing with from my local track at Kilcare. I've always looked up to them guys too, so they've been really good role models and taught me a lot.
Now, your family has always been, behind you, backing you up in your drag racing throughout your whole career so far.
Yeah, my mom and dad obviously have got me into it, and since I was young, they've always sacrificed anything and everything for us to be able to race, for us to be able to have the cars that we had, travel as much as we did. My brother, Edmund, he's 24. He also races, so he's always grown up racing with me, and I've always enjoyed that because with him being older, I look up to him quite a bit, and he's taught me a whole lot about racing throughout the years. So they've always stood behind us, and that's why it's such a good sport, because it's a family sport.
Now, has that been your only sibling?
No, I have a sister, Mackenzie. She's a year older. She's 22. She never got into racing. She was always a competitive cheerleader, and she was really good at what she did. So she enjoyed that, and her brothers would always be racing on the weekends.
Now, when you go drag racing, do you have any crew members with you?
No, just like I said, I drive a lot of different cars, so sometimes, the person that owns that particular car will go with me, but my dad goes with me basically every weekend, even if he's not racing. And then my girlfriend, Bailey, she's normally always with me too, but no, I normally do everything myself when I go racing.
So if you go racing with your car, your dad helps you?
Yeah, well, like I said, he'll go with me and normally just hang out and do what he can, but he'll go. Bailey, my girlfriend, she'll go. My mom occasionally will go, but sometimes she doesn't always make it out there.
Now, what is Bailey's role for being on a crew?
She's just my cheerleader. She's always been real good about keeping my spirits up. If I lose, and telling me it's all right. Nothing to worry about. So I definitely enjoy having her there. It makes it that much better.
Do you have any sponsorship at all?
FTI Transmissions and Converters. They help us out quite a bit. They're based in Florida. But if you need anything for transmissions or your converter, that's the best of the best right there. And then a company, RBZ Billet, Richardson Boys Racing, they make really cool custom-made steering wheels, and they also make a whole lot of accessories for your race car. Really, if you think about it, they can make it for you. So they help us out quite a bit too. Hoosier Racing Tire, that's the tire we run on all of our stuff. I personally think it's the best tire. So those are just a few of the people that help us out.
Now, do you wear a fire suit when you go racing?
Yeah.
So where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
My jacket, my fire jacket's from Alliance Racewear. They make a lot of good stuff, and they make a lot of their stuff is comfortable. So when you're inside your car, you're not sweating to death, or you're not uncomfortable. So.
Now, when you get out there in the staging lanes club, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all?
Not really. I'm pretty easygoing. Like I said, you got to be focused, obviously, but I like to just talk and hang out with people, and then, when I'm just a few pairs back from getting ready to go, then I'll get in the car and I'll try and get myself focused. But I'm not too superstitious.
Now, when you take your car out for a weekend for racing, does a lot of preparation go on to getting the car ready?
It just depends. Probably not as much as I should. Like, I probably should check over it a little better, quite a bit. But if we take it out racing one weekend and it runs good and we have no issues, we'll normally just put it back in the garage until we're going to go race it again the next weekend. We normally don't check over too many things on it. But if it's like if we need to change the oil because we've made so many runs, we'll change the oil. We'll check all that. But there's not too much preparation.
Now, do you have any favorite tracks to race on?
I like Bristol Dragway in Tennessee a lot. Well, for one, that's where I won that $100,000 race, so that's always going to be special. But also, Bristol is just a super nice facility, and you're up in the mountains, so the view's awesome. And Norwalk in Ohio, that's a super nice track also. Those are a few of my favorites.
What's been one of your most memorable wins?
It's got to be the one from Labor Day last year when I won the $100,000. Just because, like I said, I had a rough 2019, So to come out in 2020 and win a couple races, especially to win the biggest foot brake race to ever be held, that was amazing. And then we celebrated, and all my friends were there. My family, besides my mom and my sister, they weren't there, but just everybody telling you good job is, such a cool moment. And like I said, it wasn't my car. I was driving for somebody. So for him to be, as happy as he was and as proud as he was, that was cool. So that'll always be one of my top 5 racing moments.
Now, have you reached any milestones in your drag racing career so far?
I don't set too many goals. I kind of just go with the flow, and like I said, you try and win every weekend. So, when you win, you got to take it all in and be happy, because they don't come as often as you would like them to normally. If I can get at least one win a year, we're doing something right. Like I said, not many people can always win. So.
Now, as far as the sport of drag racing goes, do you have anything on a bucket list that you'd like to do in drag racing one day?
There's a few races out there that are real prestigious races, and over the years, I'd like to hopefully be able to win one of them, if not a few of them. So there's always those races you circle on your calendar to you want to try and win.
Are there any other classes in drag racing you'd like to try someday?
Not really. I mean, I enjoy bracket racing. Just, it doesn't take a rich person to go out and do it, and you don't have to have the nicest car to go out there and win. So I think I'll always stick to bracket racing.
All right. Now, what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
I'm not real sure. Tough question. Really, just any time we can go out there and have a fun weekend, and like I said, spend it with your friends and family. And if you're able to win, it makes it that much better. But you just always gotta remember that we're grateful to be able to do what we do, and we're a lot more lucky than other people are.
All right. Have you had any embarrassing moments out on the track?
Oh yeah. I really can't think of one off the top of my head that stands out, but I know for sure there's been a lot of moments that you wish you could, do over again, or you wish people didn't see them, but that's a part of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So now, have you had any accidents or close calls since you've been drag racing?
Knock on wood, no, I've not had any accidents, and I've not had too many close calls. But like I said, knock on wood, and hopefully it doesn't ever happen.
Now, do you watch NHRA at all?
No, not really. I used to as a kid, and then as I got older, I just kind of grew out of watching it. But I'll still turn it on every now and then.
Now, do you have any people you look up to in NHRA?
I mean, when I was a kid, John Force was always my favorite by far, and then Jack Coughlin. He raced pro stock up until he retired last year, but I always looked up to Jag because he was so talented at whatever he did, and he came from bracket racing. So I always thought that was cool because he understands what we do, and he still does what we do. So.
All right, so I'm going to ask you some fun questions here.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone were to come up to you and give you $900 million and they wanted you to build a brand new drag race track somewhere, where would you consider building the new track at? And what kind of features would you want to put in that new track?
That's a tough question. Location-wise, I really don't know. I guess I'd be cool with building it anywhere, because if I had that much money, I'd always just move where that track is. But what features would I add? I guess with that much money, you could add almost anything you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. You could add a lot of stuff for the kids. So it'd be a real big family, friendly environment. Maybe a swimming pool, roller coaster, all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, something to keep the kids busy when they get bored, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe put some covered grandstands, keep the sun and rain off the crowd.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You'd get a lot more people that way, probably.
All right, so now, do you have any other hobbies outside of drag racing?
Say it again.
Do you have any other hobbies outside of drag racing?
No, not real, and not any serious ones really. I go golfing a lot with my buddies in our spare time. We're not no good at golf, but it's fun. I don't do too much. I used to play soccer when I was a kid, but I don't play soccer no more. So really, just golfing and then hanging out with friends.
No hunting, no fishing, nothing, none of that stuff.
No, I've never tried to hunt. I've fished a few times, but I don't really got the patience for fishing.
No jet skis?
No, I've actually never rode a jet ski.
Yeah, me neither. Never rode a snowmobile either.
Nope, me either.
Now, have you ever gone bungee jumping?
Actually, yeah, I did. That was pretty cool. I did it once in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Now, would you jump out of an airplane?
I always said I would, and I still think I would, but it might be a different story when I get in the sky in an airplane. I might change my mind, but I think I'd do it.
All right, so now, have you won a lot of trophies in your drag racing so far?
Yeah, probably. Well, there's never too many, but there's quite a bit that they just take up space nowadays.
All right, now, Caleb, if you could hit a time travel machine that would take you back into time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing?
Not really. Like I said, the only thing I might change is how much effort and how much focus I would have put into it when I was a little younger. Because, like I said, I noticed last year really is when it really hit me that if you don't put your full effort into what you're doing, you're not going to get the outcome that you wanted. So when I was younger and I used to struggle, and I'd get mad and not understand why I was struggling. Well, it's probably because I wasn't putting my full effort into it. So that's the only thing I would change if I could.
All right, so what is your favorite food to eat?
I like chicken wings.
Favorite beverage?
I drink a lot of pop. Probably too much pop.
You have a favorite pop?
Probably Mountain Dew.
You're like my wife. Mountain Dew. Now, if you go to the track for a race day, how's your eating habits? Do you eat lightly during the race day and wait till the races are done, or do you eat regularly during the day of race time?
No, I normally eat, breakfast, and then I won't eat again until we're done racing, whether I win or lose. So I just don't. I don't like to eat when I race, which I know there's a lot of people that way. So.
What's your favorite type of music?
I listen to a lot of country.
Now, when you say country, you like the older country or new country?
No, it's the new country. So I guess it's not. You can't really call it country, but there's a little bit of old country I listen to, but not much.
So you like the hip hop country?
Yeah.
All right. Now, do you have a favorite movie of all time?
I'd say probably Step Brothers or maybe the first Hangover.
I just heard Step Brothers in another interview recently. Someone picked that movie. Now, when you were a little kid growing up, did you watch a lot of cartoons?
No, I did not.
So you don't have a favorite?
I don't think I did, but...
So you don't remember any favorite cartoons that you watched?
I watched...
SpongeBob?
I was actually going to say that I remember watching a lot of SpongeBob, so I guess I got to go with that one.
All right. I figured because you're young, you probably watched SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Now, you have a biggest pet peeve?
Like when it comes to racing or just like everyday life?
Everyday life.
I'm pretty OCD, so like my house and all that, I don't like when my house gets dirty, so I normally, I'm pretty bad about cleaning 24/7.
All right, so what's your biggest pet peeve in racing?
It's kind of, the past few years, it's kind of been like my OCD at my house. It's like staying organized. I don't like when there's like a big mess at the trailer or like a big mess in the motorhome.
Now, you know how to cook?
I can cook a little bit, but nothing too fancy.
How about Bailey? She cook?
Yeah, she's pretty good cook. She's pretty good. She's way better at cooking than I am.
All right, so what's your favorite dish that Bailey makes?
She makes baked ziti, which is just like a pasta with 4 or 5 different cheeses and like seasoning and whatnot. So that's pretty good. I like that. That's probably my favorite.
Man, that sounds good. So, what's your favorite dessert?
I'm actually not a big sweet person. I don't eat much candy or ice cream or nothing. So I guess just like a milkshake.
So you don't eat no snacks at all?
I snack a lot, like just chips or stuff like that. But it's never like nothing sweet. Like I said, really no candy.
So if I asked you what's your favorite,
I don't have a.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't have like a sweet tooth.
Now, if I asked you what your favorite snack is, will that be chips?
Honestly, I like goldfish. I've always liked goldfish ever since I was a kid.
Yeah, Pepperidge Farm goldfish.
Like people always laugh at me at the racetrack because I'll carry around like a bag or like a box of goldfish and eat them all day.
All right. So, what's your favorite color?
I don't really know if I have one. Maybe orange or maybe blue.
All right. You a dog person or a cat person?
Both, but I have a dog. I have a golden doodle. He's 90 pounds.
All right. Now, if you and Bailey ever have time to go on a vacation, what would be your ideal vacation getaway?
Probably warm weather, maybe like somewhere in Florida and just relax on the beach all week.
Now, if people want to find out where you're going to be racing at, what's the best way for people to follow you around?
Facebook. I post a lot on Facebook about every week normally, of where we're racing at and how we did. So they can look me up on Facebook and follow my racing on there.
Now, do you use Instagram?
Say it again. I think you broke up.
I said, do you have Instagram?
No, I don't.
You have a YouTube channel?
No, I don't. My brother, he kind of has one. Like, we've messed around with a GoPro a few times, so we have like a few GoPro videos on YouTube, but we don't keep up with it like we should probably.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see your races on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I went back and watched them a few times. Well, and plus a lot of the races we go to have a live stream called Motor Mania TV. so they stream the races, so you can always go back and watch yourself. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes you learn stuff from watching the race. You find a mistake you made and learn off that video.
Oh, yeah.
So now, if people come out to the racetrack where you're at, they should come by and say hi to you in the pits?
Oh, yeah. I'd be willing to talk to anybody if anybody ever comes up to me. I try and talk to them and tell them what they want to know.
Now, do you throw kids in the seat of the car if they come out?
I have a few times. There's not been many times where I've had anybody ask me to do that, but I think there's been one or two times where I've let a kid get in the car so they can check it out.
Yeah, that's cool because that's like a memory of a lifetime for that kid.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, you never know. They might grow up and they might end up doing it one day. So.
Yep. Might be a next junior dragster driver.
Exactly.
Like, Dad, I want to get a junior dragster. That was so cool sitting in Caleb's car. I want to start drag racing.
Expensive hobby.
Yep. So, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do this interview tonight.
Oh, it's no problem. Thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. You have any final words, shout outs, any kind of thank yous, whatever, good stuff like that?
No, not really. Just like I said, I appreciate all the opportunities that people give me when I race their cars, and I try and make the most of them, and hopefully we can have another good year and just keep having fun hanging out with friends and family. Yeah,
because drag racing is all just one big family that gets bigger and bigger and bigger all the time.
Exactly. Anybody will do anything for anyone.
Yep. So, Caleb, thanks again for being on the air, and I wish you the best of luck with the 2021 drag racing season.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. We can stay in touch.
All right, have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.